50 million internet users using 4.5 hours of their daily time viewing a screen, and they spend 5 hours weekly to make purchases. You can very well imagine that design teams are very large. They have 400 designers, Huawei 400 designers, Alibaba 3,000 designers, Tencent 2,000. They're not only big teams, but they work a long hours. 996 is work culture. It means that you start working at 9, you go home at 9 in the evening, and you work 6 days a week. I didn't do 996. I started at 8. My name is Alex Urrutia. For 6 years, I've worked in China as a design director in companies like Huawei. I'm going to be talking about computational design, but before that, I'm going to make a brief introduction of what design is in China. Design interfaces in China have many elements. They break down several UX rules, and they do everything at the same time, competing for our loyalty. I had started working at a company, and after a short time, I was making a presentation of a design, and I was playing funny, quite irrespectful, and I said, less is more. But no, this is more. And there was silence, endless silence. The head looks at me, the boss looks at me, the pause is very long, and he repeats, more is more. And then more is more would appear everything in the emails, PDF, internal talks, everything, everywhere. And it looked as if it was something positive. My theory is that these designs, which are so overloaded, have a raison d'être. They are related to the context, they are related to the language. So this in China is communication, this is language, this is housing, or part of China. This is waiting for the subway, for the underground. This is enjoying the beach in China. This is coming back from the beach, which is even worse. Now, if you look at this, I can relate this context to design, and I can understand, and we've done it, I know because we've done research, Chinese users can serve this complexity. They are used to finding contents in this complexity. Another characteristics, at least in our Western view, is that all Chinese designs are a copy. This says exactly the same, but I've brought along evidence. This is industrial design. This is CMF, color, material, and finishing. This is an emoji for a Chinese company. And they even copy things that are so much related to other brands that are competitors. They even copy things that are related to the history of technology. And that's something I'm sorry, I can't hear him. I'm sorry, I can't hear him. Okay, yes, I can now. There was a presentation that they were making, and the designer showed a television design that was quite similar to the competition. And he said, well, no, this is a copy. Let's do something else. Now, the PERM manager said, it's not a copy. It's a small innovation. And when Matthias told me about it, we both laughed and we said, I mean, this is a Chinese story. Now, years went by. We talked about this matter with Matthias once again, and we came to an agreement that when he said it's not a copy, it's a little innovation, he said it literally. He really believed, he truly believed that there was a value to generate small innovations to produce products. And I've been a witness to it. I've seen it. I've worked in companies where we copied the industrial design, user interface, marketing strategy, launching of products such as this one. And little by little, they started generating new products that from being very small became large innovations, and they would inspire companies to copy them, foreign and Chinese companies. One of the many advantages of working in China is that you've got access to a technology that allows you to generate new interactions that in turn generate new user experiences. This is a school in China that has facial recognition, face recognition cameras allowing children to have access to their classes in a safe manner. I think that only the stadium of Peñarol has this technology, but in China, many schools and many companies have this type of camera. This is a vendor machine with a voice interface to choose the product you want. There is also a tactile interface so that you can approve your purchase, and it has a face recognition camera linked to your digital payment to make your payment. Now, the trouble is that this lady is too short, and there was a need for another iteration. Now, it's very common in Chinese companies to have food plazas. So they would choose, employees would choose the dishes they want to eat. They go through the cash. The cashier makes the total and charges. Now, these cameras, these machines have two cameras, one for the digital recognition of the dishes. It calculates the total number of dishes and how much. And the other one is a face recognition camera recognizing the employee and charging this directly to the employee's account. This means that in China, you needn't have a battery in your cell. You didn't even need a cell phone to be part of the participation. Your identity becomes part of the interaction. You are the trigger of the interaction. This is a mini program. I think that Gaston was talking about this a couple of hours ago. It runs in widget and allows you to find an apartment. You can't only look at the photographs and make a virtual tour, but you can also see the layout of the apartment and to have access to a human or a virtual assistant in case you have any questions. So I'm bringing in this example, although it's not very interesting in itself, but it shows design in China, what design is like in China. Some years ago, design was a graphic or visual design to do pretty things. Along the time, we started investing in interaction, in research, in technology, as you can see here, to be able to experience, to be able to generate experiences and services that are more interesting. And it shows the level of maturity of design in China. We start designing services. For many secondary players, this service wouldn't exist. So we have a very big market in China, many users. They consume lots of content for many hours, and although design teams are very big and they work for long hours, it's very difficult to keep up with quality because the maturity level of the quality has reached this point. So there is a problem. Now the solution to this problem comes from technology and more design. I said that Alibaba's team design includes 3,000. And I'm going to talk about Ivan, who is 3001. That's the number of designer. In 2001, design started training a designer, a bot using AI and machine learning to be able to automatically design or draw designs. What Ban knows, about different design styles. He understands context of products, brands, requirements of clients in order to process the various designs. He knows about color theory, content, layout, images. So basically what it does, Lubin generates for each one of the products and for each one of the users and each one of the devices where it's going to be shown, it shows a different design which changes in the color and in the location so that it's better converted. To give you an example so that you understand this better, it's as if each one of us, whenever we use an app that Lubin was designing, had a human team, let's say, of an art director, a production manager, and someone from marketing to help in the conversion of these better sales. This image is a little bit frightening for me, but to have someone from marketing looking over your shoulder, well, now Lubin highlights are the following. Lubin can design 8,000 designs per second. It can generate on the super sale date, which is similar to Black Friday in China, it was able to make 6 million unique designs for that day. You would need a team of 100 designers working for 15 years uninterruptedly without standing out for a cup of coffee to emulate what Lubin did in one single day. In 2016, it had an increase by 100% of the CTR, click-to rate. Of course, the company is super happy. That was the beginning 3 years ago. In 2017, something quite curious happened with Lubin. Perhaps many people don't know about it. China was flooded by a design style that was everywhere in the media, digital media, of course, and the guilty one is a bot. Perhaps many designers don't know about it. It's like a Turing test of design that it excelled at. No one knew it had been a bot, the responsible one. In 2018, the company decided to hold an event quite similar to this one, and it decided to promote it, to promote a bot. It's a bit strange, it's as if on Wednesday, Nicolas came up here on the stage and handed out a certificate or a play to robot, and because Lubin takes up the repetitive work, it allows designers to work on research and on different options and focus on other things. For me, the most important thing is that Lubin hasn't got an account in Medium, therefore we will never read an article about code or sentence in anywhere. Well, Lubin is not the only bot designers in China. Alibaba competitors all have a bot either being trained or working with them. And for instance, Tensor has a bot that designs, programs, tests, and improves web pages. Alibaba and ByteDance have bots that edit and generate videos. And there are very many independent companies generating design services in the cloud. Unfortunately, not much of this information is available because if you have a bot like this, it's a strategic advantage. We can see it with our competitors. Luckily, I form part of a company where we are developing and training a bot to speed up the user interface process. I'll be able to show you a demo now. Basically, what Snapp does is it understands the context of the iteration, a wireframe. It communicates with a design system and it generates the design automatically. So I'm going to show you this now. Here I've prepared already. I've imported 3 wireframes, and the only thing we have to do is to indicate Snapp. Snapp runs in Sketch because we don't want to change the design process too much. The designers work, and we only have to give one command. Snapp requires 1/3 of a second per screen, so please don't hesitate. Look fixedly. So Snapp is not only generating the final design, but it understands the context of the app it has to design, and through different SPIs, it automatically adds the information. It adds photographs, texts, and all this is done automatically. I can very well imagine that there are several designers here and several people. Well, designers are also people, right? Sometimes, who are a bit reluctant when they look at these bots that design. But let me tell you something. When I was at the university, I had very good professors, Alex Sequeira, Maca, Mengual, Fuentes, etc. The senior ones would tell us that at the beginning of their careers, they would design everything by hand. They would make a composition, generate the matrix, would to the printing press. And there wasn't any mistake, a calculus mistake or a human mistake. They would have to go back and start from scratch. And sometimes they didn't have that time to generate a new version. Now, all this has changed with the addition of image software where you can make changes. I can see bot designers as a second stage in the introduction of image design. I think it's part of the same, and it's quite clear to me that it's very positive. I mean, what these bots are doing is very positive because for companies, well, they can generate money more quickly, but it also allows them for design teams and designers to focus on more important things instead of doing repetitive work, like monkey work. To conclude, let me tell you an anecdote, one more anecdote. I had decided to leave Huawei to found Snapp. I still had some weeks left at the company, and a colleague and manager who was very good asked me if I could give her some feedback on a project that she had been working on. And she started telling me about her project. After the second or third slide in her keynote, I knew what she was telling me about. She was showing me a project that I had worked on with another team some months ago. I didn't know that. Now, the first thing I felt was, well, I was angry. And then I said, well, it's not a copy, it's a small innovation. Thank you.
¿Audio? Hola. Pueden escanear y podemos conectar. Hay información.
You can scan it. You have information about Lubin and about many other things on my talk. And let me invite you to stay on because Mauro Canciani is coming with a very good talk in this same room. And then after Mauro, we have Simonette. So Mauro's talk is about state of UX. And then we have our next talk here, which is Gabriel Simonette talking about innovating with design systems.